All right, hello YouTube. Welcome back. It's been a while. Bruised here. I had been really busy, and so I unfortunately just really hadn't been able to post any. I really wanted to do some guides before the league started. I just didn't have time for it. And here I am. This is actually my third character this league. The first two characters that I made, one just wasn't great on my league starter. That's what we get for trying something new sometimes. The other character is actually really good, and I would like to go back to that character, so I won't spoil what it is. But unfortunately, it just hurt my wrists too much. I've been doing a lot, and it just managed to hurt my wrists. Anyway, so it hurt my wrists, so I made this character, which this is, as you can see, Slameth Mammoth. I know that Mammoth is spelled wrong. Don't worry about it. That was intentional, to go with the ith on the slam. Anyway, level 93 Juggernaut here. We're doing Earthquake, and especially, and in particular, we're doing Bleed Quake here, and we attack pretty damn slow. And that was kind of the whole point of this character that I made for myself. I wanted to just kind of really give my wrists a break and just make it so that all I do is kind of war cry and then slam once and be on my merry way, and that's really it. And it's worked out really well, and I felt like making a video on the character, especially because it's been a while. So this character overall, though, like I said, has been a lot of fun. Has been really good. Way to go, Steve. I've killed Maven, Uber Elder, the other bosses. I've done some of the, at least just the quest versions of Egon's stuff over here too. I haven't really pushed super far into the memory quest line to be able to do that, but this character's done everything I've thrown at him so far and has been a very solid character, so I kind of wanted to go over it. If you are somebody that prefers to just take a POB and just go from there, that will be down in the description below. I'll have a bunch of notes added in there, as many notes as I could possibly think to really add in. And yeah, I think with that, we're just kind of good to we're good to rock and roll with it. So I have a map ready. I'm just going to show you how the mapping experience kind of works with this character. I'm going to get rid of the Harbingers because otherwise it will take a long time. And yeah, we'll just get to schmoovin'. And I'll just do, yeah, we'll do an essence. Why not? But yeah, this build, this league, and just in general, I've been having a lot of fun. I have been having a really good time with some of the changes. Stuff's been really fun. But as you can see, though, we go through like every animation of the slam attack. That is how slow. I believe our actual attack speed is like 0.74. It's really slow. But that was the point, is just to set up, and then bonk our enemies and be on our merry way. You can actually technically make this even slower as well if you were to run, what is it, Earthquake of Amplification, I think it is. But I was not trying to run Path of Exile 2 delay for our our character here. I was not trying to have that much delay behind the aftershocks occurring. Alright, that last guy's gotta go. Alright. We get out. Is it a hive or a fortress? It's a hive. Okay. I was gonna say, if this is a fortress, I won't do it in the video because it just takes a little bit too long. Boop. But we can do a hive. Vile Hiveborn, she says. I have a phasing flask here that I pop whenever I'm using Ball Earthquake, just so that we can actually just run through enemies without having to think about, without having to like worry about getting stuck while we're just trying to run through and place as many earthquakes down as we can into the ranks of our enemies. As you see, just kind of like whenever Vol EQ goes off, I'm gonna pop Blazing Flask as well, just for the sake of doing it. Vol EQ is great for both this and for the fortresses as well. It's also really helpful. It's very helpful to run this with the run Vol Earthquake for that for the hive, both of the hive thing. Oh, hey, Legion too. All right, well we'll do it. I try to not do too much content while I'm making videos here, just to kind of keep things speeding along, but you know, we're trying to showcase some stuff. I will say, like, this character is certainly not completely invincible or anything like by any means. Still completely mortal. As you can see, my life total is pretty low. I really wanted to fix that. I'll go over that more in the gearing section, like how one would go about fixing that, and or like, you know, just some of the areas I've been unlucky. But like, it's certainly it's still like, it's a thick character, but it's not completely as immortal as it could be, especially if you were like a faster attacker, so that you're getting your life leech happening far more often. But it works for what it is. Oh, actually, Crimson Iron things are actually pretty funny too, because you can also just kind of just run around. Boop. And there we go. Also, I have, if you, just in case you've been like, where's your other war cry? So I'm using, this is, which cry is it? So I'm using Seismic, Rallying, and what is it? Intimidating. Those are the three main ones I'm using. I have Enduring as well, just for when you initially start, just for like when I initially start a map, or if I'm like low on life when I'm fighting somebody, then, you know, Enduring Cry just to get some charges and get some life regen kind of rolling. And then in the back end here on my mouse 5 button, that's where I have Rallying Cry set up. So pop that, bonk. The only thing that I would say is like semi-detrimental sometimes when fighting enemies of some variety is anybody that blocks our attacks. Like, our attack speed is so slow that if somebody blocks your attack, it's kind of annoying. But there are ways around it on the tree. I just have not spec'd into those because I just have been wanting to purely go the damage route. But with that though, that's very much so how this character works, and that's just a semi-quick, as quick as I can really reasonably run. 4.5 minutes, that's not bad. For this character, that's not bad. Just a reasonably quick showcase on this character. So with that, we'll go over the tree first, and we'll kind of go from there. So this is our tree that I have so far. Like I said, level 93. So a few more points could be put in here and there, of course. Major stuff is to start. Actually, we'll go Ascendancy first, and then we'll go into that. So first node that you should take is Unstoppable. After Unstoppable, Unflinching, and then Untiring, and then Unrelenting. We're actually going to be going Resolute Technique here. We're not worried about crits or anything like that, so we don't need to worry about taking Undeniable. And Unyielding is like, it's decent, but it's not that good. Like, it's an okay node. I'm not huge on Unyielding. I guess you would get a lot of area of effect, so that's kind of up to you, but I'm not a huge fan of Unyielding. I would definitely rather take either Unrelenting or Unbreakable. I think these two are semi-interchangeable with each other. Kind of let you do what you want there. I just like taking, I like the additional elemental damage reduction for sure. Here we go, though. We have our whole tree set up. We're getting some extra resistances here. Early on, when you're leveling, I would definitely recommend just getting over here to Bloodletting first, and then coming down here for like Bastion Breaker. Bastion Breaker is a pretty good little bonus here, and then taking Vengeance probably, and then also Disciple of the Unyielding. But yeah, this is our whole setup, and eventually come over here fairly late game, take Master of Wounds, Steadfast for the Fortify, so that we're getting a bit of tank there. When you start using War Cries, take Admonisher as well, just for the extra speed. Realistically, we don't need any other Warcry nodes. Like, there are good Warcry nodes. We don't really need them, though, because we don't actually have to Warcry too often, and thanks to Echoes of Creation, they get +1 cooldown use, so usually by the time that you've Warcried and then used all your exerted charges with how slowly we attack, you can usually use it again, and odds are you'll have 2, or if not, you'll be cycling back to the first charge being up again anyway by the time you go through all of your exerted attacks. So plenty of value there. If you really want to, though, also the Warcry Masteries have some really good stuff in there too. Definitely could say that that's a good thing that you can take if you want, but we have the jewel slot here. We're getting endurance charges. The only endurance charge that I don't have right now is this one, and I'm certainly not going to get it, but I am going to anoint it. That is my plan. My plan is to anoint this endurance charge right there. More damage reduction for us. just pretty decent across the board. But yeah, early on as well, use just precision, use accuracy for a little bit, take Eagle Eye if you have to. Use accuracy for a little while until you make your way up here to just take Resolute Technique, and then grab some of the axe nodes. Or if you don't want to use an axe, like I'm kind of telling you right now that I'm using an axe. I'm using specifically Ulnatul's Kiss because I just kind of wanted to. I liked the Foulborn version of it. But if you didn't want to and you wanted to use maces, by all means, just get rid of the axe nodes, take the mace nodes, and take some other mace stuff down here probably. That would be my recommendation on that front. Also, early on, until you're able to get yourself a Cluster Jewel with Fuel the Fight on it, don't use Cannibalistic Rite here. Instead, I would take the 1 extra int point here and use Spirit of War. That will actually fix your Mana Leech there. If you have Mana Leech in a different way, fantastic, just do that. But for a long time, actually, I took the extra point here and was using Spirit of War until relatively recently, where I managed to get that fixed with a Fuel the Fight over here, and then I took that point away and took Cannibalistic Rite instead. So that's kind of what I recommend on that front and on the tree. Hopefully that helps. But yeah, like I said, I'll have notes and everything like that in the POV if you want to take a look at that. We do want to crush enemies. We want to get the more max Fizz damage. Fairly generic stuff. On our actual Cluster Jewel over here, though, you could definitely get a better one. And actually, ideally, you would get, what is it? Feed the Fight? Or Feed the Frenzy? I don't remember. Something. Feed the something. And you'd want to get that, actually, instead of aggressive defense here. This is just what I've rolled, and I'm too lazy to roll it at this point. But you'd get a... and also, Martial Prowess doesn't really do anything. It's like, Martial Prowess is okay. But you could get a better node. It's Heavy Aggravation or something. It's Wound Aggravation. You could get the suffix Wound Aggravation, get that with Feel the Fight, and then get that with the one that gives you the Life Leech as well, and that lets you get rid of this Life Leech node down here. This is what I'm using in the Hematophagy Wheel. I can sometimes speak. Anyway. You could get rid of that point if you got the node on your Cluster Jewel. And then in our actual cluster, we're taking the Fizz damage over time. We have Rend for the bleed duration and Fizz dot, and then we have Circling Oblivion, damage over time and more duration of ailments. Both are good things. I think that's the tree. You know, take some bleed stuff, get the Savage Wounds, get some bleeding masteries, get as much Fizz as possible, get max stuff. I think that's our tree. You know, when you need some tankiness, grab your grab your max res, and max res yourself up. With that though, we're rolling to gear. So like I said, the weapon that I'm using, and ideally you would also have one that is 6-socket. This one does. I tried to roll some of the corrupted essence on, or the corrupted what are these things called? The Tainted Jeweler's Orbs. I tried to roll Tainted Jeweler's Orbs on it. I was getting absolutely screwed, so I just said whatever, and I left it at 3. But you should most definitely try to get one that's 6. The implicits here aren't actually that impactful. They're decent, don't get me wrong. Like the bleeding on hit and damage against bleeding enemies is decent. But the main thing that I wanted to get this for was the Warcry's Exert, 1 additional attack. I forget what that gets rid of. I forget what that Foulborn mod removes right there from Ulnatul's Kiss, but it wasn't anything impactful. It wasn't anything that impactful anyway, versus just having this. But this is what I'm using. Like I said, use a mace if you really want to. Use a big mace. If you have a really good Fizz axe as well, you could use that instead, most definitely. This is just something I wanted to use, so here we are. This is my weapon of choice, and it's been pretty good. Echoes of Creation here is our hat, so this is what we're using. Like I said, you get Warcry skills 1 cooldown, which is fantastic. We actually have so much physical damage reduction that the Echoes of Creation, like damage that it does to you, is essentially negligible. It feels like it does nothing to you, but 18% of life is physical damage for each Warcry exerting the attack. We have 3 Warcries exerting. I'll be honest, it feels like we take no damage when we slam anyway, so Echoes of Creation feels like it's basically just free real estate, especially because we get 13 more damage for each Warcry, so this is kind of free real estate for us. Boot-wise, we're using Tempest Rising. This comes from Uber Cirrus, and I found this one right here, Corrupted Max Endurance Charges. I bought this for 75, 80C or something. It was actually extremely cheap, which surprised me. So you can 100%, you could potentially very much so get yourself one of these as well. If not, then just the base by itself will also still be very solid. Just the 1 max endurance charges was just kind of a nice little added bonus. We're using Rislatha's Coil here. Try to get yourself more max fizz and less, you know, more on the more, less on the less. That's all that we're going for. More fizz damage, more gooder. Glove-wise, standard gloves, aggravate bleeding implicit, along with some added fizz. I think there's another better implicit, but I don't remember what that is that I was really trying to roll, and I couldn't get it for the life of me, so I just left it at the fizz. Otherwise, resistances, life, more armor. As you can see, that 1 to 2 cold damage to attacks really kicked me in the ass, but it is what it is. I gave up at that point. I really needed the resistances. It covered its bases otherwise, so I said screw it. Very much so. This league is very cheap on a gearing, and especially on fractured bases in particular, depending on what you're looking for. But even this 27 chaos res right there was, I think I bought this for 10C. So somewhere around there. Very cheap this league to buy good fractures. Highly recommend that you do that. I think I even bought some fractured boots at some point. I was using these beforehand. I bought these, and these were also pretty much nothing, and then re-rolled from there. So do as you please there. Our chest piece, though, again, I just needed more res, some increased effect of non-curse auras. I did need dex. Remember this Ulnatol's Kiss, if you use this, has a 76 dex requirement, so make sure that you fill your dex somewhere. And then we have otherwise we're just going for as much thickness as we can. Resistances, armor, it's not that good, but it was just the best of what I could roll at the time. But again, you could make a chest armor way better than I've made this one. It covered its bases exactly as it needed to, and I was not going to mess with it from there. So fix and fill as you can. You could get one essentially bigger. If you do roll one that doesn't have any life mods like mine does, you can take the life mastery for 15% increased max life if you have no life modifiers. Highly recommend doing that if you roll that. If not, obviously take the life. My life total is very low. Ring-wise, we have Venopuncture here. This is what pairs with Tempest Rising, because non-chilled enemies you inflict with bleeding are chilled wholly. And bleeding enemies you kill with hits or shatter, which is just kind of a nice little bonus. But the biggest thing is chilling enemies when you bleed them, because then with Tempest Rising, that means that while they're chilled like that, they count as moving, and it's just going to make them take bleed damage a lot faster. So if you can't get consistent aggravation, then at least we're counting it as moving with that, which is just a very nice thing to have. And then also try to get one corrupted with all res or something else good. But this was also really cheap to buy. I think I bought this for maybe 40C, so reasonably very cheap to buy this. Oh, actually, we'll go other ring here. I am losing my mind with this ring. It's not, as you can tell, it's not very good. But the primary purpose for it is getting a Warlord ring that has curse enemies with vulnerability on hit. I have spent so much blue juice trying to reroll this thing, and this is the best that it has given me. I have spent like 20,000 blue dust, or blue juice, life force here, trying to reroll this thing, and this is the best that it gives me. Be luckier than me, is all that I will say. I have rolled flammability more times than anything else. I've rolled cast speed and flammability are the only other two caster mods. Cast speed has the highest weighting, but then vulnerability and flammability have the exact same weighting. I saw flammability way more frequently, and anytime I saw vulnerability, it was crap. So this has been the best roll that I had. But if you can reroll this by just doing Warlord and caster rolls here in Harvest, that's kind of the easiest way to roll it. And you just do that, and just be luckier than me, and you'll be a lot happier. And then amulet wise, any kind of just good amulet. So fractured chaos res here, definitely try to get more life, but also really trying to fit in resistances where you can, because I would say with all of we have quite a few uniques in this build, and because of that, that means our resistances get stretched pretty thin, especially when we also have as much max res as we have. You know, we're at 81% elemental resistances, so it's hard to fill all the resists, so just really try to cram as many resists in as you possibly can. Flask wise, like I said, Quartz Flask just for phasing for when we activate Ball Earthquake. We have a Quicksilver here. We have our Blood Sap Tincture just for the dot multi and increased damage with bleeding while this is active. And then we just have a Granite Flask here, just more armor, per usual. And obviously the Flash Charge when you deal a crit does not do anything. You could definitely roll a better one, but that's just what I have for now. Oh, and then our Grafts here. This is the other thing here. So Violent Desire, this is just kind of nice because while we're raging, it's a chance to inflict an impale, which actually does mean, well, actually we have 9% chance to impale. You could maybe reasonably get a different one. I feel like I can't remember what other Grafts. Look at this Graft. I'm trying to remember what other one, like maybe this one. The problem that I have with it, like this one is good. The problem that I have is that Tender Embrace is just a buff that it essentially does nothing for us. Just because we gain endurance charges like crazy. It's kind of nice to have like an oh shit kind of backup, right? But I don't think it's that crazy. But also it's up to you. So I would say either this one, the Impaling Ulgraft, or the Hardening Ulgraft. Either one of these will be solid for you. And then the other one is the Battering Ulgraft, which we also want. This is very good. The Reduced Enemy Stun Threshold is pretty nice, but those giant hands deal a ton of damage and are very good and hit a very big area on them as well. So very much so recommend using that. It's another just really good thing, and it does stun enemies pretty frequently. So very nice little extra item to have. Those are the two Grafts that I'm running with this character. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think there is. I think that is more or less a speed run of this character. We went over the tree, went over that. We went over our Grafts here. Look at this Graft. And I think we are good for this league, honestly. Like I said, I'll be making hopefully another video or two about some other characters I have upcoming. Though I am probably going to be leveling another character soon, as there was a new unique added that really makes me want to go back and do an old build, and so I'm probably going to get started on that pretty soon here. Regardless, though, in the meantime, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you enjoyed this quick little guide and showcase with this character. I've had a lot of fun with him, as much as it is. If you're somebody that really prefers speed, I understand, but it has been really fun to just have the Omega Bonk and just be absolutely sending it. What's even funner is if you put on this, so you have the Giga Fist. I like having the Giga Fist with Fist of War as well. But regardless, hope you enjoyed, YouTube. I will, like I said, I'll have notes, all that kind of good stuff in the description below. And yeah, as always, let me know if you have any questions or anything like that. I'm happy to try to answer whatever I can, or let you know if you have some other idea and you're like, hey, this is actually, there's a better way to do this with this, in which case I'll probably tell you, yeah, most likely. But yeah, I'm always happy to answer questions or anything like that. YouTube, I hope that you enjoy some more Path of Exile 1. We have Path of Exile 2 in December. Have a lot of fun, and until I see you next time, stay sane out there, Exiles.